Hopefully the third time's a charm, because here we are going live again on Facebook on Quill Hawk Publishing's website, Facebook page, I mean, and we are trying to find Len, who is trying to get to us via a link, and I sent him an invite to join the Facebook Live. So we'll just hang tight, and if you are already watching, and I really appreciate you. So Kelly Tran is watching. Woohoo! Okay, so at least I see Kelly. Len, where are you? If you're not here soon, I'm gonna bring Kelly on the video. So Kelly, I bet you've got your face on, right? I'm teasing. I won't bring you on the video, but we'll hang tight, and hopefully Len can join us, and I will bring you on then. But for anyone who doesn't know about Len, he is amazing. He is a refugee who escaped Vietnam and ended up in New York, Bronx area, followed the engineering path. And then before you knew it, he was writing a book and decided to publish a memoir, and recently won an award and was on the TEDx stage and doing all sorts of things. So I can't wait to bring him on board onto this screen, and we'll start asking him some questions. So be patient, hang tight, don't go away, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Okay, let me type him a message. Hi, Kelly. I think you need to help Len out. So I gotta love technology. We tried going live on Facebook via my laptop, and we couldn't get Len on. So now I'm trying to go live on my phone to get Len on, as well as message him. And yeah, he says he's watching the live video, but for some reason I can't bring him on. So we might have to postpone this. Well, okay, we are already 15 minutes into the hour. Okay, now I can see Len, and we're adding him. It only took us 15 minutes and 3 tries. I see you.
All right, this is the weirdest thing. I can get on my phone, but I cannot get on my laptop.
Okay, well, here we are. I know I switched over to my phone too, and I think maybe that was the issue, but that's really strange. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was just with Facebook Live, you can only have one person when you're doing a laptop.
Yeah.
We are learning.
All right. Well, I have to put my phone a little bit further away from me because I'm seeing that my face is taking over all of the squares on the phone.
Right, up close and personal with Len Tran.
Well, thank you very much for the introduction. That was a long introduction. That what was it? For 15 minutes, you had to introduce about me. Thank you very much, Amy. I can hear you. I just cannot log on until I have to try my phone instead.
that's okay. It's, you know, third tries a charm, and we finally made it, so we're good to go. But so for those who don't know who you are, Len, do you want to share with us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you're on this live with us right now?
Yeah, so my name is Len Tran, even though Amy had probably mentioned it countless of times within the 15 minutes. And I just finished my my memoir, which is the title Split Up by the Sea. And I'm so proud to write that memoir. It took me 3 years to complete. I also have a full-time job. I am an engineer, work for the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Have been working there for the past 20 years. But all this time, I thought, you know, getting that engineering degree was something that I'm proud. But I tell you what, finishing that memoir was everything to me.
Hmm. Well, tell us a little bit more about your book and your writing journey, why you wrote the book, because I know you started down a different path with this book before it became a memoir. So do you want to share that?
Yeah, it's rather funny that, you know, growing up, I decided to do engineering because I thought, you know, solving equations and, you know, playing with numbers were my thing. And when it comes to descriptive writing, I'm always scared. If you tell me to write a paragraph, maybe I can do so. If you tell me to write pages, I was like, nope, you know, you give me papers and I can solve equations, but not writing, not my thing. Until 3 years ago, I decided to do something different. I wanted to actually write something motivational for my employees. But the more that I keep on writing, the more that I find myself kept on inserting the things that I have learned while being on that boat with my dad in 1982, when after the fall of Saigon in 1975, that both of us left the country while leaving my family behind, well, my mom and my five siblings behind. And I thought, you know what, if I keep on inserting these lessons that I've learned during the boat journey, why not just write a memoir? And I'm glad that I did because, you know, uh, it's one thing to finish a book, but it's another thing when people who don't know about you and reach out to you on Facebook, you know, saying that, thank you very much for sharing your stories. And even though the book is about you know, my journey coming to America on a boat, but it's more of finding hope. And, you know, from the beginning of chapter 1 all the way to chapter 30, I believe 31, it's all about, you know, having courage and hope is on the horizon.
Yeah, so now it's been out for 6 months already. Can you believe it's been 6 months already?
I know.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. It's still like, wow, you know, it actually happened. Yep.
yeah. Well, congratulations. You've got a book baby that's 6 months old. How has this book changed your life and changed your family's life?
Yeah, certainly, right? So writing a memoir is always tough. It's like saying, you know, how much do I want the world to know about me and my family? But I'm glad that I did it because, you know, it has healed many unanswered questions. And for me to decide to do something like this, it was hard at first, but once the book was done, it provided a lot of healing, and I'm glad that I did that. But the opportunity was actually, and I heard you mention when you were introducing me while I couldn't log on, was delivering a TEDx yesterday. Well, actually, it was on Saturday. I delivered TEDx, and the story was about my book writing journey. It's, you know, it's about overcoming that fear that, you know, we think that we are only good at certain things and not other things, but believe it or not, we are more capable than we think we are. And it's all those thoughts that, you know, it's in between your ears that's holding you back.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I was able to speak about that on the TEDx platform. And many examples that I use are in that book.
Hmm. Hmm. So tell us a little bit more about the TEDx experience, though. Like, how did you prepare for it? How did you get invited to be on it? Was it stressful or was it easy breezy because you are a Toastmaster speaker? So yeah, shed some light.
Yeah, if it's kind of funny. Back in the day when someone asked me to speak for 30, 45 minutes, I'd be like, oh, you know what, that's going to be hard. But TEDx is different. TEDx, they only give you 18 minutes to share your wisdom. What is that you can bring to the table so that the TEDx audience can go away with. And with 18 minutes, it's not easy at all. It's like, okay, how can I convince someone to believe in my technique within 18 minutes? So it was rather difficult, right? And you cannot, stand on a TEDx platform and just be spontaneous. You have to, for me, the way that I did it was, script the most important points that I want to share with the audience. And it took me not as long as the book. The book took me 3 years to write. The TEDx actually took me a whole month of refining and also practicing in front of my Toastmaster club here locally, as well as other Toastmasters in different states. And it's nice to get the kind of feedback from them because Toastmasters, these are all professional speakers, and my first and foremost is, how are they connecting to the content, right? We can deal with the gestures, the tonality, and all this and that, but overall, for the TEDx audience, the content was important. And just like the book, right? Just like when I first wrote this book, and you and I discuss about it, it's about, okay, show it, don't tell it. It's the same thing. It's how you can get to the audience heart before you get to their head.
So did you have to travel to this TEDx talk?
The beauty thing about that, it's only 35 minutes away. The toughest part is each speaker gets 18 minutes, right? So I was the last one, and I was like, oh my goodness, let's make it 20 minutes approximately. So that's 120 minutes 100 minutes that I have to wait. And I am of the personality, and my background is it's karate, and as martial artist, I hate sitting, right? So I keep on standing, pacing back and forth. It just me. I just like to keep my body warm, just like to keep my blood flowing. But when you start walking back and forth for an hour and a half, it's like, oh my goodness, now I'm tired. So I think that's more tougher than the drive itself.
Wow. So do we get to see this TEDx talk? Was it recorded, and is it going to be shared soon?
Certainly, yeah. So with TEDx, I believe that it takes at least 3 to 4 weeks before TED, which is the bigger company, they approve of the video, and then they'll post it on YouTube. So yeah, I can't wait for them to post it. I would love to share it, on Facebook to all my fans.
Great, great. Okay, so let's talk about you winning the award for Best Indie Choice Award with Quill Hawk Publishing. And first of all, why did you decide to enter your book into this contest? And what was it like for you while you waited for the judges to critique your work?
And that is quite interesting, right? Like I said, when I wrote the book, it's like I had to rewire my mind, right? Coming from an engineering perspective, you always have self-doubts, and in my head I'm thinking, oh, who's gonna read my book? This guy is an engineer. Writing is not his thing. But I reframed that thought, and every single time that I finish a chapter, you still have self-doubts. You're like, okay, you know what? Who's gonna read this part? And my daughter kept on popping up, right? I'm like, you know what? My kids needs to know how I came to America with my dad. They want, I'm sure they gonna have a lot of questions on, how you and Grandpa survived, back in the 1980s. And because I kept on thinking about my kids, I was able to finish it. And when I got it done, okay, I see that, Quill Hawk has a contest, and my first impression was, you know what? It really doesn't hurt. But if I'm going to enter the contest, at least I'm going to have judges reading it, right? So I'm going to have more of an audience. It really doesn't hurt at all. And so I want to try. I want to try to see how this book can resonate with readers. And to my surprise, when I got the announcement that I won first place, yeah, I was jumping for joy. I mean, first thing is, even though I was looking at my wife and my kids, and I was so happy that I won the book, but when I did a 180 turn where no one's looking at me, I had to wipe off that teardrop because it's three years of hard work. I mean, like I said, coming from an engineering background, writing's not my thing, but I put in every single day to write that book, and I have never used a thesaurus that much before.
Is that part of the show? Don't tell. You have to use all these words.
Yes, right.
I'm very pleased and very proud that you won that book first place for the nonfiction category. And, we had independent judges, and, it was, for me, it was really interesting to read their feedback, right? And see how they scored and see how one person might, resonate with it. But when it's unanimous, right, that you're doing something right. And so, tell me what's going to happen next. Are you working on book 2, book 3? Are you going to do an audiobook? What's next?
Yeah, that's so yesterday when I did a TEDx talk, I got, a couple of people came up to me, and the very first thing they asked is, what's the title of the book? And when you speak at a TEDx platform, you're not supposed to share the title of your book, and it's not a platform where you're gonna advertise, your product. But they ask, and when you give a speech about how to overcome fear, and yet someone is asking you, okay, what's the title of your book? I want to get it. It makes you think. And then I got additional questions, and they were, when are you going to do the audiobook? Because, I'm driving a lot. I want to hear it. And my first answer was, if I have to do an audiobook, it has to be me reading it. Right? And part of the reason is because I want to be authentic. A couple weeks ago, I was at a book signing event as well, here locally in Virginia. And so I read passages from my book, and I can't believe it. After you figure, when you write this for 3 years and, you revise it a couple of times here and there, you think that you'll get used to it. But no, I read it and I still choked up. So if I have to do an audiobook, boy, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because it's going to be a lot of re-recording unless, my readers want to hear me cry on in that audiobook. But yes, I am contemplating on doing the audiobook because I get so many requests that, I might as well rethink about that. And as for the second book, yes, I am working on that. As a matter of fact, I just finished the first revision, so you never know. It's gonna be maybe this fall, Amy. So get ready to have that published too.
Yay! Well, give us a little teaser. What is it about?
Yeah, so right now the title of the book is "Break the Brick," and it's not about my martial art background of breaking the bricks. It's all about myself, all of us who are having obstacles, and I'm sure we all have obstacles, right? It's either the real obstacles in front of us or the obstacles that we create in our minds. So in order to discover the real you, it's time to break down the bricks. And yeah, so what I did with this book was I got back to my engineering method that we have to have a system in order to guide us to overcome fear all the time, right? If I'm gonna just say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna change my perception so that I can overcome fear, but that's just only words, right? When you only have words, it's not as strong. But when you have a system, a method of doing things, then it's much more clearer. So basically, this book is that system, it's that method, the guide to help you.
Interesting. So do you think that you would, so you're right now in the nonfiction genre. Are you going to stick to that lane, or are you going to do a multi-genre type thing? I'm going to be book 3 because You know, you seem to really enjoy the writing process.
Yes, yeah, and that's life is strange, isn't it? Right? When you think that your life is heading that direction, but you just never know. You just never know who you're gonna meet, who's gonna inspire you, or what's gonna happen to you that you may steer to another direction. And that's what happened to me. I thought that my life would just be engineering until I met you, who wrote three books, and I was inspired by that. And I was like, "Well, Amy wrote three books. That's pretty awesome." And now I'm feeling inspired to do the same thing. Although it's rather funny, I would like to stick with nonfiction until a friend of mine who read my book, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, Len, guess what? You and I have to get together and write a book." I was like, "Okay." And he said, you were talking about, how you escaped Vietnam from communism. I myself escaped from Cuba, also from communism. And, we have similar stories, but let's write something fictional, like make it interesting and stuff like that. You never know. I'm going to meet him in the next 2 weeks, and it depends on the conversation. Just watch out for that call, Amy. I might call you up and be like, "Hey, I'm going to start something, a fictional book coming along."
That would be very exciting, and it'll be a very exciting process because you'll be co-authoring potentially, right? Co-authoring, branding, co-marketing, promoting. I mean, you guys will be tied at the hips forever, book signing. But I look forward to that. I think it's great. Maybe you'll be the next Sympathizer and you'll have an HBO limited series or something. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be cool, but no, the word "but" should not even be in the dictionary, right? No, I'm just looking forward to have fun with it. If I do end up writing, fictional with this person, it should be a journey where I get to discover myself, right? And it's all boiled down to my second book. It's don't have that self-limiting beliefs. You gotta always believe in yourself.
I love it. So tell me a little bit more about your first book, Split by the Sea. Now, you came here in 1982, which you were 7, 8?
7, yeah, almost 8.
Almost 8. And you went through the refugee camps. There's a lot of 1.5 generations of us from the Vietnamese diaspora who came here, and they went through the same process, right, with the refugee camps and the boat experience. But tell me a little bit about how your story differentiates from maybe other boat people refugee stories.
Yeah, when it comes to boat people, especially, I'm living here in Northern Virginia, which is a very large population of Vietnamese, and we do have thousands of, hundreds of thousands of people here in Virginia who are both people who had gone through even a tougher path than my own path. Right, we were fortunate enough to head to Hong Kong, where we got rescued, even though we were stuck in the middle of the sea for 21 days. But I have friends who also boat people that got stuck in Thailand and Malaysia, and they got pirated. People got killed, and women got raped. It's horrendous. But when I talked to them, they wanted to write a book themselves. The only problem is they just don't have that discipline. So when they ask me, why, where did you find that discipline that you were able to write? And I told them, I said, it's because, earlier I said, I have a purpose, and my purpose is so I can allow my kids to understand what we went through in order for them to have this life. And, the details that I put in there, the 21 days that we got stuck at sea, where we find ourselves, pretty much on the brink of being dead a couple of times. The storm was coming towards us, and we thought we were going to die. Whether we're Catholic or Buddhist, it really doesn't matter. You just pray. And we were fortunate enough that, we prayed, and and we got rain, and rain was what we needed in order for us to survive, because we were running out of water for those 5 days, and there's no way that we're gonna last for another 6 days. It's like people were just lying on the deck of the boat, just ready to be succumb to the sea. But I took it to the next level on that book, which is describing how an immigrant like myself and my dad, just only a father and son, how we were able to adapt to this new country. I mean, coming to America with very little English. I mean, they had taught us a little English in Hong Kong and the Philippines, but that was nothing for us to converse with people here in America. And without the language and having that language barrier, it's hard for me, especially for my dad. He's an adult, and it's just a little bit fortunate that adult to adult, they don't bully as much. But for me, as an 8-year-old child, I got bullied a lot. I was verbally bullied. I got physically bullied, and every single time that I went to school, I got to the point where I told Dad, I'm like, Dad, I don't need to go to school. I can watch Sesame Street all day and I can learn from that. But Dad's like, no, you have to go to school. And every time when I go to school, it's scary. It's like, why you keep sending me to school when I go there to get beat up. But and that's where I have to credit my father for telling me to be persistent. The only way to make it is you just have to go through it. And I was able to put up with it. Made friends who were helping me along the way, and I got friends who actually pushed these bullies away so that I can run away. I wish I can find Rufus again, but yeah, I lost contact with him. Been trying to look for him on Facebook and can't find him at all. But those are the things that I want to detail in the book, as well as the boat journey, because surviving in a country where it's brand new is difficult.
Yeah. So today is what, April 24th? We are just we're very, very close.
6 days.
Yeah, very close to April 30th. And for those out there who don't know what the significance of that date is, do you want to share with them why April 30th is so profound for us?
Yeah, so April 30th, 1975, April 30th was when we lost our country. And that's when lives changed, right? My dad was on the verge of becoming a doctor. But when, communists took over, we lost everything. Growing up in America, I was eating just only fish and cactus. I don't even remember eating chicken or pork and any meat at all, but just more cactus than even fish. People who were living in Saigon at that time were, could even use the money. The currency was changed, so whatever money that they have was useless. People were just holding bags of money and just jump off the cliff, or jump off of the building. It's that's why we call it Black April. And so actually next week we're going to commemorate here in locally, and I will be also part of the group who's going to commemorate that day.
That's beautiful. Yeah, Black April, which is April 30th, 1975, when the Vietnam War officially ended, and there was a turnover in the government. But one of the other things that you participate in, or that you're active in, is the Vietnamese Boat People organization, and you recently joined as a board member. Not many people know about that. Can you share with us a little bit about what that organization does, what it means to you, and what is your involvement as a board member?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say thank you actually to the Vietnamese Boat People organization, because last year when I got interviewed by Tracy, who is the founder of VBP, and she brought me on and we discussed about my book writing journey. But I think essentially is discussing on how people like myself, both people, how we were able to strive and adapt to this world, this new country that we're living in. And and I decided to be a board member because we want to bring more of these stories. We want people who are not able to write a book because whatever reasons, either time constraints or just not disciplined to write a book. But we want to bring them on board so that they can share. Recently, we just had a story slam, right? A Vietnamese Boat People story slam. We want to bring young adults in and discuss about how their family gone through the boat journey ordeal. And like I said, this is Northern Virginia, where we have a lot of Vietnamese people here, and so for myself, my responsibility until this October was to interview as many people as I can find, so that they can share their stories, because we want to preserve these stories. We want our young generations to understand that of what we went through.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the, I think it's the 4th annual MeVic, right, Story Slam. And apparently we had a lot of submissions this year, which is really exciting. And the judges have their work cut out for them because they're all so good. And we can't wait to have it shared with everybody. But the other thing that you mentioned was the community recordings in October in Virginia. We're doing that in October as well in Oklahoma. I can't wait. I think we're going to maybe do ours first before Virginia. We flipped it around.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about the community recordings. What's the purpose of it?
Yeah, like I said, is to just got a little choke. Yeah, it's to bring people on board, let them share about their stories, and most importantly, we have a high school here in Northern Virginia. It's called Falls Church High School, and I think it is the only high school that actually teach not just only the Vietnamese language, but also teaches the Vietnamese history. That's incredible. And so if we can do that with VBP, to bring the community in, so then we can record or a video interview, so that we can preserve this their history. And this is something that we can keep and share with the young generations.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Vietnamese Boat People organization to come into our local cities and do these on-site recordings. So if anybody's interested out there who would like to share their story and potentially be on the podcast, they're going to be coming in October to both Virginia and Oklahoma. And we're looking for some amazing stories, some people who would love to share their boat journey and their diaspora. So please do reach out to Len or myself, or Tracy with the Vietnamese Boat People organization, and we can get you some more information there. But we are wrapping up on our time already, and I just wanted to give you the platform, Len, to see if there's anything you'd like to share.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much for all of those who are watching right now, and sorry to be 15 minutes late. I was early, I just couldn't get on at all, but thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting Vietnamese writers like myself and Amy, and I'm sure you get to read my book or Amy's book. It's incredible stories that we are willing to share our family stories, so that we can relate and we can let other people, the world, know what we went through. And I'm proud to be the boat people.
Yeah, me too. All right, so anybody want to go out there and buy the book? It's called Split Up by the Sea, and we would love a book review, because books reviews actually help us to get noticed and help readers to select their next read. So we would love the reviews, and then please look forward to Break the Bricks, which is coming out hopefully later this year. It's in its final draft, so I'm sure Kelly right now.
It's kind of funny, but yes, my wife is my first editor before I gets to Amy, because when I like to go through her first, because she gives me her honest opinion when she's like, honey, I need more of this part. And yes, even the first book, Split by the Sea, I credit that all to my wife, because she really makes me dig deep. And I believe that only digging deep, that's when you make your book powerful.
Mm. Well, you know, books are like tattoos. They're very addicting. And I actually just published a book a couple of weeks ago. So I can't wait till you catch up with me.
Yeah.
And I already see who's on the chat here. She's like, she can't wait to buy a copy and can't wait to read. So thank you, Selena, for your support. And for all those who are joining, I saw Pooh and Tom, I think, and a few others, Bryant fans. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll make this available on YouTube later. And until then, keep writing. And if not, then start your journey with writing. We would love to hear your stories. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Len. Have a good night.
You too.